I know. When we say that you are creating your relationship from your mind, that what's happening with your relationships are a direct reflection of what's going on in your mind and your consciousness. I know how annoying that can be. I know that you may feel indignant. Some people feel indignant and they smirk like, what are they talking about? You have no idea. How can it be my mind that is creating these things that I'm directly and consciously and actively fighting against? I am doing everything to make sure that I put a stop to these things. So how can you tell me that they're still coming from me? It sounds like blaming. It sounds like victim blaming. But that's not what it is. It is that the people who say these things are simply trying to help you to understand that it's within your power. Nobody knows this thing from the womb. We went through the same route. We went through the same path. We saw the same problems, identified the same mistakes and problems within ourselves to now finally get to a point where it's like, other people need to know this. People don't need to go through this. It's within your power, but you just didn't know. And the reason you didn't know is because you live in this world. What do I mean by that? When we're born from our mother's wombs, we come here with no ideas, and the child has no thoughts, no suspicions of anything until the environment begins to influence the child. The child begins to see certain things, is treated in certain ways, observe certain things, and then begins to learn fear. And then we grow up within families. Our families teach us do's and don'ts. Our environments teach us do's and don'ts. We leave our home, go to school. School, it's do's and don'ts. Go to work, it's do's and don'ts. Society, it's do's and don'ts. So what do we learn? Approval. We're seeking approval, right? And that's how you don't know when you find yourself always seeking approval. You don't step out and feel that I can do this or do that. Your mind is always using the information that you gathered from the world to make your decisions, which may not be reality. Those things may not be reality, but you're stuck on them because you believe that this is what it is. You don't know that the choices that you're making and the thoughts that you're having are not really yours. They're coming from the society. Now, I told you how a friend of mine, our situation is what taught me how I learned that it's our minds that create our relationships with other people. Our relationships with other people are based on what we think that they're perceiving of us. And what we think that they're perceiving of us, in many cases, is not even reality, right? Until we confirm it. But without confirming it, a lot of us take those things as reality. So this, my friend, was having some problems. Before I met her, I really, really admired her. And I felt, oh, this and that are fantastic about her. And then we got close. And then she started to tell me things that she was concerned about. She was worried about things that when I looked at them, when we shared with other people felt they were fantastic. But even after we finished confirming and validating these things, she'll still go and come back and still be worried about those things. And then I realized she's worried about things just because of her perception. She doesn't realize that these things are fantastic. And the thing is, at that time, I was also having the same problems with certain things. And when I would go to present these things, I would go with fear without confidence. I would always get the same responses. Nobody was excited. So after a while, I said to myself, if she's having this idea about things that we know are wonderful, but she does not realize them, all this is coming from her perception. Is it not possible that I'm also thinking of myself and other people perceiving me in a way that is wrong? I am so sure that this is reality, but what if I am wrong? So why don't I wait? Why don't I say to myself, there's a possibility that you are wrong, girl. And maybe people actually will love these things. Let me go and present them with confidence. And as soon as I said that and I did that, these people were swarming me like bees. I was getting applauded for something that before it was the same thing, the same presentation, the same me going around and showing the same thing. But because I thought a certain way about it, I presented it in that spirit. And this spirit was not of me. I had taken it from somebody, because in the course of life, something had happened where I found myself in an environment where I was faced with someone who was always coming at me with negative words, always giving me negative feedback. This is that. Everything was always negative. And do you know that I began to imbibe that, even though before I got there, I already had a positive understanding of myself. I stayed in that negative environment and I was absorbing that, and I began to believe it. And because I believed it, I began to see life through those lenses. And when I would go to make presentations, I would go with that spirit, with that belief, because those things were in my mind. And because I was going like that, I was giving those people, I was sowing that to them, and they were, and so I was reaping that, because you will reap what you sow. Right? That is why when you go like that, depending on what you go with to approach your relationship, that's the result that you're going to get. People who are always talking about how women are gold diggers, when they see videos and topics like that, they go there, they keep on soaking that thing. And then when they meet women, they interpret everything that happens with them, between them and the woman, about the woman trying to dig. And even if she's not, they suspect her. They think that she's hiding something. There are some videos that I see, there's some topics that I see. I will never click on those things because I know I have no business with them. Now, let me tell you how you can change things for yourself. Understand that the moment you begin to say no, you understand no is a word. You can say no and you can say yes. And if you see something that is a no for you, just say no. I know that it can be difficult, right? But you have to start from there. Because guess what happens? When you start from there, you will suddenly realize when you open your mouth to say no, you will be saying to yourself, I cannot really carry this through because who the heck am I to say no? Who do I think I am to say no? And that is when the second shift happens. Because when you feel like I'm not enough to say no, then it shows you what and what you need to change to be able to really feel that you can say no. Because if we say go and do something and you're just pretending, that's why pretending can help to a certain extent, but then after a while you still need to really have the substance. So get the substance inside of you so that it becomes who you are on the inside. Now when you take up that challenge to go and change yourself in order to be able to say no, when you do that, you actually get the third transformation. That is when the third shift happens. You become a data processor. Because in order to get something, here is the thing, a lot of us are trying to get something from someone, or trying to get someone to do a certain thing, to be a particular way. But in order to get that, you need to also know how to understand it and read it, and when you see it, to identify it. Because if you are a cup of this size, you cannot hold water that is this volume. If you don't have the capacity to manage a certain amount of money, if you win it at the lottery, you are going to lose it. You can be a great person and be with someone who doesn't have the capacity to manage a great person like you. Water will always find its level. Water will always find its level. So when you're at that level, it is because that is the level that you're dealing at. Because you have to work according to your standards. There is no way that you take a doctor and ask him to go and start working as a chemist in a small chemist store. There is no way. You're going to have to work at the level at which you have the capacity. So by the time you finish doing this inner work, you will know by yourself that when you see things, I said you become a data processing machine. When you come across certain people, you will even know ahead of time. That's why someone can say to you, I know that I can never have this type of relationship. Because when you know, you'll be able to identify the shit show before it even starts. As soon as it starts rearing its ugly head, you know this is not for me. So you need to become that. When you become that, how do you be? So you have to become it inside you. Do you understand how it now works? You have become something, and because you have become it, you know that, like, you can't wear a shirt that you can't fit into. That's just what it is. If you're able to have this type of relationship, then it's because it's befitting for you. It's befitting for you. Because as soon as you realize that this shirt is too tight for me, you can't wear it. A square peg can never fit in a round hole. That round hole has to be reshaped to become a square so that it can fit. So that thing has to change. That thing is going to change. That's why I say that it's up to you. You are the one who determines what a person is to you. It doesn't matter who they are, wherever they're coming from. It doesn't matter who they are. I'm talking about when you are in a relationship with someone. I'm talking about intimate relationships or close relationships, even family members, right? It doesn't matter what is going on in their minds. It is you who will determine, can I wear this shirt? And then you determine whether you're going to use it as a tablecloth or as a rag. What function does this person have in my life? You are the one who decides that rule. It's up to us all the time. But this is where people now lose it. This is where people drop off. When it's time to transform yourself into that. Transform yourself into that so that you can have the capacity. Then all of a sudden, you now realize, it's like saying to a man who has muscles, I'm going to fight with you. You can say everything you want to say. But when the man shows up and says, let's go and fight, then all of a sudden you'll be like, I really cannot fight this man. Now, are you going to develop that capacity? Because you can say everything you want to say, but if you don't develop that capacity. So you see, at the end of the day, it's all up to you. In so many different ways, it all comes back to you. See, the problem is that we soak up what we meet in the world and we begin to deal with it as a reality, but those things are just symptoms. It's like if a tap is leaking, tap, 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 and you go and start stopping that tap. As you're stopping that tap, you can put a stopper to stop the leak. But as soon as you take out that, you haven't stopped the leak. You have just stopped the symptom. You have just stopped the thing that it's doing. But the problem still persists. There is a problem somewhere. And if that water isn't coming out from here, it's going to be going out from somewhere else. It's going to be creating another problem somewhere else. And even as soon as you take out that stopper, it continues to leak. So you need to go to the very foundation. So it's not something, we don't deal with these things just on the surface. You need to go to the foundation. If you're having a problem with this relationship, people are doing this to you, they're treating you this, in another relationship, the one with your brother, the one with your father, the one with your cousin, the one with your friend, the one with that person, the one, whoever, you will not know how to manage your relationships. You won't know how to manage your relationships because if you find people who have you just need to develop the capacity to understand how to manage relationships and to make them make sense in your life. When you're able to do that, wherever you find yourself in other relationships, you will make them make sense in your life. You won't be going to bed wetting your pillows, wondering what to do because you have the answers. You need to get to the root of the issue. It's something that you can do by yourself. Start by this. Think upon certain things. As a man thinks in his heart, so is he. Look, it starts by recognizing, who are you? Do you want to do that transformation? Make that transformation inside yourself, right? These are not just words, right? Look, Abraham was told, exactly what Abraham was told was, let me read it. And don't look at this as religion or Christianity. These are words from wisdom of the ages. He said, the Lord said to Abraham, look as far as you can see in every direction, north and south, east and west. I am giving all this land as far as you can see to you and your descendants as a permanent possession. Right? So it is about what you can see. Like I told you the other time, you can't get to your office unless you don't even know, you don't know what's on the road. You don't know if there's constructions on the road, if there are trailers on the road. You don't know what is on the road. All you know is that you're getting ready and you're going to your office. And you get to your office. That's because you already saw it before. You didn't even check your car to see if your car was taken away over the night, if your tires are still there. But in your mind, you're going to your office. And that's why you get up and you go there. So for this relationship, you know what it is that you want. But when we get to that second stage that I talked about, that I said transformation, if you feel that this person doesn't value you, then what are you doing about it? You have to say no to that situation. And when you're saying no to it, all of a sudden you realize, I don't even have the capacity to say no. How dare I say no? Who the heck am I to say no? And that's when you have to make that second shift. What is it that you need to see? This thing is a two-edged sword. It helps us in our personal improvement, because as soon as we begin to go towards that thing that we want, then the light begins to shine on what it is that we need to change to be able to get that thing that we want. So at the end of the day, in so many different layers, it's coming from us. Because what happens is that people fall into different categories when they hear that it's coming from you, it's something inside you. It is not an attempt to victim blame. It is just a call for reflection to see where you are doing something and what your role is so that you can understand it, because your relationships will always mirror what you are, who you are. It's not blaming. Please don't take it as blaming. There are different categories, and people fall into the category of being indignant and angry, or beginning or feeling that somebody knows something that they don't know, or that this person doesn't know my circumstances. Nobody knows this thing from the womb. We went through the same route. We went through the same path. We saw the same problems, identified the same mistakes and problems within ourselves, to now finally get to a point where it's like, other people need to know this. People don't need to go through this. This person is still going through what I went through before. Let me go and tell them. This is where you need to make a shift in your understanding, because that shift in your understanding is what starts the journey. And this, my friends, is how, when you have transformation inside you, any relationship that you're going to have match up to what is inside you. That's how we match up. You can't be in a relationship that isn't your match or isn't your level. Water will always find its level. No matter how jungle bad, lion no go fit chop grass. No matter how jungle bad, lion no go fit chop grass. So in closing, we're all this way. Nobody is better than you. We all start here, because when we're born into this world, we don't have any preconceived notions or ideas of anything until we begin to become corrupted by the world. I call it now downloading the wrong software, or downloading corrupt software. We become corrupted, and then we begin to see life through those lenses, and we begin to make errors and mistakes. And then when we find out, if I find out, I teach the next person, and maybe somebody else teaches me, or maybe I go through my own experiences and I sit down to think, I don't like this. Where do I make a change? And that, my friend, is how we create the relationships that we desire. When you become a person that's able to say no, a truly magical thing happens. It's a two-edged sword. It helps you to shape you into the person who is actually able to live that no.